Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Foresight.com presents Putts and Pints. I'm your host, Colin O'Brien, giving you news and notes on the golf world, all while discussing it over a tasty craft beer. I am joined by my cohort, my dog Bogey, who's hanging out here on the couch next to me, as I've got the coverage of Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Championship Invitational, and is about to start on the Golf Channel. And today's beer is from Boulder Beer Company. That's Boulder as in Boulder, Colorado. And it's their hazed and infused ale. So I'm going to have one of those, a sip of that right now, and then we'll get started. Cheers, everybody. That is tasty. All right, so this episode is all about gearing up for my favorite time of the year, my favorite event of the year. As you can tell by the music, oh yes, it is time to get ready for the Masters. We get to hear Jim Nantz give his Thursday commentary on the putt that goes in that might be the deciding factor come Sunday. All that sort of fun stuff. But Augusta National, the Masters tournament. If we had to eliminate 3 out of 4 major championships on the PGA Tour or in the golf world, and only keep one, I would keep the Masters. There's something about playing it at that course at Augusta National. You get to know the holes as if you've been there before. I've never been there. It's a bucket list thing for me. But it's one of those things that I don't know. It's got a signal of the start of the year. That winter is over. Spring has sprung, all that sort of, pick a cliche, but it's the one, like I said, if I had to eliminate 3 out of 4 majors and I can only keep one, I would keep the Masters. And so heading into that, we have, a lot of talk about, because it is the first major of the year, is like who's in line to win. You have players like Rory McIlroy, the world number 1. Obviously, he is when he's on his game, he's going to be the favorite. And it's also, he's looking at this as to complete his Grand Slam, if he can get that Masters win, his career Grand Slam. And then a little mini, I guess we would call it, if he won this year, it would be a mini McIlroy Slam, if you look at it that way. He won the British Open and PGA last year, the last 2 majors of 2014. And now he's coming in with, if he could pick up this Masters, that would be 3 in a row. So a lot of stuff going on with that, or a lot of build up as far as McIlroy himself is concerned. But then you've got players like Henrik Stenson, who's your current leader at Bay Hill, coming in today's final round. The number 3 player in the world, probably going to pole vault up into the number 2 spot. And he's playing fantastic golf. It's unbelievable, the ball striking that he's got, and then he's matching it up with a short game that when he does get in trouble, he gets out of it pretty quickly, and his putting has been great. So he's a big threat right now to win a green jacket. Bubba Watson, who is the current number 2, but also probably be supplanted right now and drop to number 3, but no big deal. He's only won 2 out of the 3 previous Masters green jackets, or the 2 out of the last 3. And then you have a whole host of other players, previous champions that you could always look back at. I mean, Phil Mickelson could pop up at any time. Tiger, if he figures something out, is very comfortable around Augusta. No question about that. And then you have another host of first-time winners, or potential first-time winners. Matt Kuchar from the state of Georgia. You have Jordan Spieth, who as a 20-year-old was in the final group to try and win the Masters. You have Patrick Reed, who is winning at a pretty decent clip especially for a mid-20s kind of guy. Dustin Johnson, if he can figure it out, he's playing great right now. He's got a win at Riviera. He's got a win coming into this season after his hiatus. He's already picked up another win. Brandt Snedeker was also another early on in his career, kind of made a final pairing on Sunday. He's got a win this year at Pebble Beach. Lot of that stuff going on, and so it begs the question, and there's a lot of talk about it right now because besides McIlroy and Watson and Bubba Watson, the rest of the folks that you would consider contenders, or maybe like better odds contenders at Augusta National, are all without a major win. And so there's that constant question. It's like, who's the best player without a major? And there's actually been quite a bit of discussion about that. So I figure, why not? The Foresight needs to weigh in. I need to weigh in on this. So I'm going to look at the best player without a major, and then we'll move into another section, another discussion, because I felt it actually brought up another interesting topic. So as far as best player without a major goes, there are Henrik Stenson obviously is right now maybe the best player right now, like without a major, as far as his the way his game looks at the moment. But that's not how I was basing it. What I was basing it on was players who are still at a top level, still contending for wins, maybe picking up a win either on European or PGA Tour here in the States, and then their overall accomplishments. So it's like it was a combination of what you've accomplished plus your current playing, your current state of your game, and are you still competing at a high level? And so the names that came up, Stenson was the first one, but I didn't give him the top spot. I didn't give him my best player. Dustin Johnson was another one because of the number of close calls that he's had. He has won this year. I mean, he's coming in. Every tournament he's played in so far since coming back, he's looked at least pretty good, if not a contender. And his length is always going to be a factor at Augusta National. It's always going to weigh in, especially since they've lengthened that course so much. He's got a shot if he can keep it in between the lines there. And then Matt Kuchar was another one that was one of my, say, top four. Kuchar, I if I had of my top four, I would probably rank him, if it was a force ranking, I would rank him fourth. And the reason being is because of the accomplishments. He has more top tens by a mile than anybody else over the last 5 years. He has a lot of top fives as well, and he's got a couple of wins in there. But that was the thing, was that he's got a couple of wins, and he's never really been somebody that's threatened, especially when it comes to majors. I just don't see him having that. He doesn't have that record at majors of the top fives and top tens. They don't seem to translate as well. It's not to say that he's missing the cut all the time or what have you, but he's not playing at that same level. And wins are wins. The young guys out there right now, like say the Jordan Spieths or something like that, they're picking up wins and they're contending. So it's. I kind of see that even at their young age right now, like that puts them kind of ahead of the game on that. But Kuchar's undeniable as far as he's a steady Eddie. He's gonna be there probably. Within the he'll make the cut, but I just don't know that he's he's the guy that you would look to say, well, this is the year that he breaks through and he gets that win. He doesn't seem to have that killer instinct about him. But speaking of that, and maybe somebody on the flip side of the attitude question, is Sergio Garcia. He's my pick for best player without a major. He's still playing really well. He's still playing good golf. He's contending in tournaments now. He's making top fives. He won last year on the European Tour. He's got the key to him is that he's got 18 top tens in majors over his career. He's also 9 of those were top 5 finishes, including the two runner-ups to Padraig Harrington at a British and then a PGA, and then the runner-up to Tiger at the PGA when he made his splash onto the scene as a 19-year-old kid who's contending for a major championship. So Sergio Garcia, I gave it to him, my best player without a major, and it was based on that. Like I said, the combination of what is your current state of your game? Are you still playing at a high level, and are you do you have a track record to go along with that at majors in particular? And he's got the best combination of the two that I can see right now. Other names that could have come up, but I just don't see them. They don't meet the criteria that I was looking for. Lee Westwood, obviously, he has the most wins. He's the most accomplished player without a major that's still currently playing at a high level. But I just see him being way on the other side right now of that, the trajectory for potentially winning a major. I see him as, I don't want to say over the hill, but that's the best analogy I can come up with it for right now. I think he's missed his window. Steve Stricker was another one, the same thing. Plenty of wins, plenty of accomplishments. Never really been a guy that looked like he was threatening all that often at majors of any kind. And I just see it being sort of way out of his reach right now, or from here on out. He's just not. He's missed that window as well, as far as I can gauge. So while thinking about who the best player without a major is, I started to think about, based on the last podcast that I did, the question of what is this generation or what is this era of professional golf look like? And the subject came up of how many players are potentially going to be kind of like one major winners. And we had Faldo and Greg Norman as sort of the distinct number ones of their time, but they weren't dominant players. And then a lot of folks who won a major, maybe two, that sort of thing, that were crowd favorites or popular players of the day, or they're better players of the day, but nobody was a dominant player of any kind. And so that got me thinking, what if we had a current one major winner versus no major winner, like a Ryder Cup or something like that? Who would be on that team on either side of that? And I called it the MOB, or the monkey on / off the back cup. And so what we're looking for are the major winners that are still playing, again, at kind of a higher level, but it's not an all-time list. It's current. And so I'll run through who I've got, and then we'll see what we're looking at as far as who do you actually think would win? It's kind of an interest. As I put the teams together, I really was kind of stunned at the time to find out that Well, the way that I think this would pan out, actually. So